Hey everybody, Kevin Duffy here of MassLive.com, joined by Mark Daniels of the Providence Journal, and well, the season's over, and I don't think either of us really expected that to happen today. I kind of put it at like 85% Pats win. That was just a number off the top of my head, but I thought that they were definitely the better team throughout the whole season, and today just things did not go their way. Mark, I don't know, what you see in this game? Why do you think it unfolded the way it did?
I mean, at the end of the day, they always talk about execution, and I think about when you think about the Patriots, you think about a team that typically they're pretty disciplined, and they don't make too many mistakes, and I think that's why they're so successful. Today it was the exact opposite. They made mistakes everywhere, really. Tom Brady, 2 interceptions. The offensive line was terrible. You had some stupid penalties, a lot of false starts. Didn't seem like the team was prepared to play, in this stadium with all the noise. You had guys like Gronk cramping up. Steven Gostkowski, who set an NFL record for the most extra points made, missed one that became pivotal. And then the defensively, they didn't do bad. Of course, when you really needed to stop in the fourth quarter, they gave up a field goal that ended up, changing the game. So I would just say all three levels, it wasn't there. Execution wasn't there. It was a really sloppy game.
Agreed. I went into this game and I basically thought that because the Patriots were the better roster, clearly the better offense, I thought that they would have to have beaten themselves to have lost the game. Mm-hmm. And I think in some aspects they did beat themselves. Between the Gostkowski missed extra point is an atypical thing like that. Never. I mean, he made like 500 in a row before that.
Right.
The Brady pick set Denver up at the 16-yard line, and that's when Manning connected with Owen Daniels for the second touchdown. So that was part of what I thought Denver needed a short field or a defensive touchdown to stay in the game, and they got that because of Patriots' mistakes. But with that said, I wouldn't say it was totally the Patriots beating themselves because I think we saw Denver's defensive line just really manhandle the Patriots' O-line, and that's not a matter of the Pats, doing it. It wasn't a self-inflicted thing by the Patriots. It was just that Denver was better than them in that area, and that made a huge difference in the game. Just that they had 20 hits on Brady.
Right. I mean, honestly, it was reminiscent of how the Patriots lost those 2 Super Bowls to the New York Giants. I mean, they got constant pressure on Tom Brady, and even that 2007 team that was, Randy Moss, Brady, 50 touchdowns, they couldn't score because Brady was under constant pressure. And when you rattle Brady like that, you start to see it a little bit. It starts to affect him a little bit, and that's the best way to get to him. That's the best way to beat the Pats. It's been like that forever here, and that's why they lost today. I mean, the offensive line was certainly a mess, but you have to give it up to the Denver Broncos because Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, those guys are animals. They were really good. The secondary did a decent job as well. I don't think the Patriots, even though they had everyone who they could have healthy, I wouldn't say they were honestly healthy. Julian Edelman didn't look quite as quick today as he did to me last game, and after the game he looked pretty banged up. But that's all she wrote, man. It's crazy that it ended. I didn't expect it either.
Wild ending, and we didn't even really get to just the way it ended with the insane touchdown catch Gronk had, and then the failed 2-point conversion. One thing that's kind of been on my mind since this game ended was what kind of went wrong in the whole like if this game was played in Gillette, say they hadn't lost in week 16 or 17, who knows if that would have made a big difference. I think there's something to be said for home field in the playoffs. That's why I always thought it was so important that they got that number 1 seed, which kind of left you in week 17 kind of scratching your head with the way they approached that Miami game. And I just think it was a pretty difficult situation because there were so many injuries and they were so battered versus trying to win and secure the 1 seed. I mean, there's a lot of things that happened at the end of the season that I think contributed to what we saw today.
Right. I mean, injuries included. And I mean, you think about it, the Patriots really didn't play well. They didn't look well. The offense probably looked as bad as we've seen them at certain points. I mean, maybe not as bad as Miami, but in the first half, Brady was pretty terrible. But still, at the end of the game, 12 seconds to go, they're going for a 2-point conversion to tie it and send it in overtime. It shows you what kind of team they were, what kind of talent they ultimately had. That fourth quarter was kind of crazy to me, Kevin. 4 fourth-down conversions, and I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are second-guessing Bill Belichick because with about 6 minutes to go, he chose to go for it on 4th and 1. Brady hit Edelman, but he lost a yard. They could have kicked a field goal and probably got the ball back. It's tough to say that if you kick the field goal, everything happens the way it happened. I mean, that's not gonna be the case. It is interesting though to think if they should have done that.
Yeah, in retrospect, I was on Belichick's side, or the side of, they made the right decision. But then when I went back and looked at where the Pats got the ball back and field position, all that, they probably should have kicked there because they ended up stopping Denver and getting the ball back at their own 29. So if Denver had punted from their own 23. So if they kicked, gotten a touchback, and Denver moves the ball 3 yards like they did, again, you're saying like it's hard to project if everything unfolds the same way. They probably get the ball at like their own 25, 26. So you're not talking about it's not like the field position made a huge difference on that particular drive. So probably the right move would have been to kick it.
All right. And I mean, we can talk about injuries all day and, for hours. Not having, I think, LeGarrette Blount and Dion Lewis it kind of killed them at the end. They really couldn't run the ball. Tom Brady was your leading rusher with about 13 yards. He also had the team's longest run with like 11 yards. Terrible. I mean, Steven Jackson can't hit a hole. Brandon Bolden, James White, those guys can't get 3 yards a carry, never mind 4. And I think on first down, when you're constantly getting stuffed at the line and then you're in 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, I think that really hurt the Pats in the end.
Yeah, I'm starting to agree with you more there because I was always of the camp where I didn't think it was a big issue that they were one-dimensional because I thought they could throw against anyone. It would have really helped in this game if they had been able to loosen Denver up a little bit and get something going on the ground. I mean, the Patriots just, once Dion Lewis and I guess Blount also went out, I mean, they could not run the ball, and it definitely cost them today.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, I think that's all we got for the 2015 season. So
yep.
I don't know when the next time we'll do this. Maybe some off-season videos.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have lots to talk about.